Thank you for coming today to help celebrate the life of my mom, Cynthia Simecek Julian. I know she'd be happy to see you all here, and the first thing she would say is, "How are you?" Because she did always put other people first. Since this is a celebration and we just want to share good memories about our mom, I thought I would start with a few memories and then a few gifts that I feel she gave me, and then I'll turn the podium over to my brother. Both my brothers, actually. We're lucky to have my brother Jim here from Spain with his wife Michelle, so we're very grateful for that, and my brother Jeff, who is in Glendale. And I also have props, so when you see me turn around, don't worry about it. My mom loved music, and she loved dancing. And I found out that when in 1960, she could twist all night without ever stopping, so I know where I got that from. But she must have started me at a very young age, because one of my earliest memories at age 5 is when I had a matching little short pink dress with my little friend, both of us 5 years old, and we were being the go-go dancer entertainment at my parents' parties. So she enjoyed that. And on Easter Sundays, she always had me with my Easter dress and my bonnet. And being the sensitive young girl I was, my parents affectionately called me Sarah Heartburn. But she was always there to comfort me and let me know that everything was okay. And when we lived in England, the American curriculum was a little bit behind the English curriculum, so she was worried that I stay up with the rest of my class. So every day she would work with me on my schoolwork and my times tables, so that in first grade I knew all my times tables. And when we moved around the country so often, and even around the world, in England and in Germany, I remember when I was 6 or 7, I was concerned, and I said, "Why do we have to move every year, and I have to leave my stuff in storage?" And she just sat me down and reassured me and hugged me and said, "Jaimi, it doesn't matter where we are, and it doesn't matter what you have. The important thing is we always have our families." So family was very important to her, and it came first. She was a great supporter of my independent spirit, letting me start my own babysitting business at age 10, and also getting me my own Betty Crocker Boys and Girls Cookbook so I could make family meals. I had such wonderful things as pigs in a blanket and fried chicken, and my specialty was meatloaf. Then I just figured out later on that she didn't like to cook so much. But that worked, because my Betty Crocker Boys and Girls Cookbook came in really handy. I did want to share with you, I was looking through my paragraph book when I was in 5th grade, and on January 3rd, 1975, my mom was about 7 months pregnant. My New Year's resolutions were, number 1, to help my mom with her new baby. And the deal was, if she had twins, I got to have one of them. But she didn't, so we had to share Jeff. Number 2 was make my mom proud of me. Number 3, get good grades. Number 4, earn my allowance. And number 5, behave myself. So I guess she instilled pretty good values. When I was 11 and we moved back to California from Germany, she let me redecorate my new room, pick out my carpet and pick out my shutters. And funny thing how I ended up in the design business. She also let me get my own private telephone line. And to do that, I had to have my own private checking account so I could pay my one bill a month of my telephone bill. So at age 11, I was paying my own bills. But my favorite story in encouraging my independent spirit was when she took my brother Jim and I, this was before Jeff was born, sorry Jeff, to Paris. And she let me take a friend with me who was also 10. So we were 2 10-year-olds and an 8-year-old and my mom on a tour bus in Paris. So I did try her patience a little bit. I got lost in the Louvre, not only from the tour, but from my friend. So the whole tour bus was held up for about an hour. And after that, I think she put me on a leash. But anyway, when we got to, the deal was an American Express tour, and it was a phenomenal deal. But we got to the hotel in Paris, and they put all 3 kids in one room with my mom. And I said, "Mom, this flyer says this price is per person per double occupancy, 2 people per room." And she said, "Well, Jaimi, that doesn't mean kids." I said, "Yes, we paid the price. We should get 2 rooms, not 1 room." And she says, "Well, I'm not going down there. You can go down there if you want." So down I went to the lobby of the Paris Hilton, and I looked up over the reception desk with my little flyer, and I said, "This flyer says 2 people per room, and you put 4 of us in 1 room." And they said, well, we don't have a room adjoining to your mom's room. And I said, it does not have to be adjoining. And they said, well, we don't have a room on the same floor as your mom. And I said, it does not have to be on the same floor. So he disappeared for a little while, and he came back and said, okay, here you go. And he gave me keys for a room for my friend Anita and I to go up 7 floors away from my mom. Well, about 25 years later, in my late 30s, I found out from my mom that they had called her and asked permission. But she never bust my bubble. She never told me that. She kept it a secret for 25 years. She said, well, you know, they did call me and ask me. But it was too late. I already thought I could conquer the world at that point. She always taught us that we could do or be anything we wanted to if we put our mind to it and worked hard. She was a tireless supporter of all of our athletic and academic endeavors. She was a disciplinarian. I will have you know that when we were growing up, when our paddles with the balls on the end, when they broke off, those were used as spanking instruments. And they would count to 3, and if we didn't comply by the number 3, we would get paddled. But my mom had a kind spirit, and this was her version of counting to 3. 1, 2, 2.5, 2 3/4. You better listen to me. 3. So it was about 7, really. So I don't know if we couldn't get it together by 7, but then we deserve to be spanked. So she took great joy in showing us the world. You saw from the video, England, Scotland, Germany, Garmisch, Munich, Berlin, Paris, Athens, the United States. And she also inspired several relatives that were sitting at home watching TV to take up things like whitewater rafting, because if she could be traveling the world, they should get off their butts and go do something too. She always showed me that there were more than two sides or more to every story. And she was always defending whoever wasn't there to defend themselves. So I remember in my 20s, I was whining about how my brother Jeff, who was 14 at the time, didn't appear to want to spend so much time with family. I mean, can you imagine a 14-year-old who doesn't want to spend time with family? And she said, now, Jaimi, you know, as a teenager, it's more important to be with your friends and be with your family. You did the same thing. I said, okay, and then I let it go. That was fine. But she was always there to guide and gently coach us and let us know not to take things personally. She was always there for us, but she never held us back. She never discouraged us, and over the years, we certainly gave her trials. But she was a great example of love and compassion. And in the end, when she was suffering so much and she could barely move, and I was stroking her hair away from her face because there was not much I could do, she said, oh, that feels good, and she reached up to stroke my hair too, because she could never take without giving. And then when I climbed in bed next to her and held her in my arms, she just reached her arms up and held onto my arms, because she would always give back. She was so comfortable giving.